Right now at noon, a bill to end the partial government shutdown heads to the president's desk after a key hurdle to a final vote was cleared. And lawmakers in Salem are taking on a $250 million transportation shortfall. The two new bills aiming to tighten oversight at ODOT and change how projects get funded. Plus, Portland's Housing Bureau sitting on millions more in unspent funds while council is still figuring out how to spend millions uncovered late last year. And later, a Team USA athlete gives a major update on whether they'll compete in the Winter Olympics. Your News at Noon starts now. We begin here at noon with a live look at the House of Representatives, where lawmakers just passed a massive spending bill to end the government shutdown that started Saturday. You see here Maxine Dexter speaking right now, clearing the bill for President Donald Trump to sign it into law. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Stephanie Domerat. Now, the president has said he will sign the spending bill immediately. The vote comes as the Clinton family has agreed to testify in the House investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. NBC's Ryan Nobles has more from the nation's capital.
Capitol Hill looking ahead to an extraordinary scene. A former president possibly testifying. Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton informing Congress they are now willing to answer questions as part of the House investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
That's a good development. I mean, they need to follow the law and the traditions around here.
The Clinton spokesperson writing, quote, "They look forward to setting a precedent that applies to everyone."
It's been our impression that Bill Clinton has been willing to talk to the committee.
Past releases of the Epstein files include photos of Clinton. He has denied any wrongdoing and previously said that he cut ties with Epstein before allegations against Epstein came to light. House Republicans have been threatening to hold the Clintons in contempt of Congress, but that vote is now delayed. The move coming overnight as both Democrats and Republicans were also grappling with negotiations over the reopening of the government.
ICE and the Department of Homeland Security need to dramatically change.
And so if the Democrats want to throw out these ridiculous proposals that make it harder for ICE to do their job, that's just not going to happen.
That was Ryan Nobles reporting. The spending bill passed today will fund most of the government through September, with the exception of the Department of Homeland Security, which will be funded for 2 weeks as the two sides negotiate reforms to the Trump administration's controversial immigration enforcement nationwide. And while lawmakers in Washington, D.C. hash out funding at the federal level, state lawmakers here in Oregon are doing the same today. This is a live look from our Salem Skycam as day 2 of the short legislative session is underway. One of the top priorities this session is addressing a $250 million funding gap at the Oregon Department of Transportation. Last night, lawmakers on the Transportation Committee learned more about a pair of bills focused on accountability at ODOT. Policymakers say one bill sets standards to make sure major projects actually meet the state's transportation goals. It would score those projects on criteria like safety, climate impact, and cost effectiveness. The other would establish strict oversight to improve how ODOT manages debt, budgets, and projects.
There are significantly more projects and maintenance needs than there are resources. And again, that's not profound. And when this is the case, we need a really clear system for how we spend our money based on the areas of greatest need. And the truth is, as we all know, we don't have that system.
We have reached out to both ODOT and the Oregon Transportation Committee for their take on these two bills. We have not yet heard back. The public hearing for these bills will be scheduled soon. Meanwhile, Portland City Council now has to figure out what to do with an additional $21 million they found in unspent housing funds. Yesterday, Councilor Loretta Smith revealed fellow Councilor Jamie Dunphy had alerted her to the millions in unspent funds connected to the Portland Housing Bureau's Housing Investment Fund. Late last year, councilors were informed that the city's Housing Bureau had roughly $21 million in unspent funds in its rental services office. Last week, City Council passed an amendment focused on using that initial $21 million for things like rent assistance and affordable housing developments. Though more changes to the amendment are expected to be voted on at Wednesday's council meeting. Our Blair Best will have more on how councilors are approaching this new amount of unspent funds. And turning now to your weather this afternoon, let's give you a live look outside. This is the view from our Wells Fargo Skycam, looking out over beautiful downtown Portland. blue skies out there, just a little bit of clouds. Looks like you can see maybe Mount St. Helens there in the distance. Let's get Chris McGinnis from our Weather Center with more. Hi,
you know,
Chris.
you can also see Mount Adams, and right on the side of Mount St. Helens, that little bump, it's actually Mount Rainier.
It's beautiful out.
There you go. Yeah, you can see a long way today after the fog has burned off. It's gorgeous out there down at our state capitol as well. It's chilly, though. It's 46, so the fog took a little while longer to burn off down in the central Willamette Valley, and that's why we're just now starting to warm up. It's 55 in downtown Portland. It's 50 right now up in Vancouver. This camera was socked in with fog earlier today, and I'll show you a pretty cool time lapse from this shot earlier this morning. Calm breeze, and again, most folks enjoying some sunshine for the west side of the state. To the east side and out in the Columbia Basin, we are getting back into that inversion, low cloud lockdown, and that may continue as we go into the next couple of days. So much like what we had last week and the week before, where we had days and days of frost to sunshine in the valley, I think we're kind of setting up the same story for the next couple of days across the region. This is a live look in the Dalles, and you can see the low clouds there where it's currently 44 degrees. Right now, it's 55 in Beaverton, 52 at PDX, and as we mentioned, it's 55 in downtown Portland. The plan for today, mostly sunny for the rest of our Tuesday, with highs inching towards 60 degrees, and we could be back in that territory again a few more days this week before the weather pattern changes a bit. More on that coming up in just a bit.
Okay, Chris, we'll see you then. Thank you. In an update now, after 5 years, a civil case involving allegations of sexual abuse against former Westland doctor David Farley has been resolved. Providence Health settled yesterday on the first day of the trial, following earlier settlements from Farley, Legacy Meridian Park, and the Westland Family Health Center. Attorneys say 174 survivors of Farley's alleged abuse now have closure, adding that the settlement holds these organizations accountable for failures that allowed the abuse to continue for decades. Farley still faces 16 felony sexual assault charges in a criminal case. He has pleaded not guilty. Remember, help is always available for anyone you know who has been impacted by sexual assault. You can dial the number you see here on your screen. That's 800-656-4673 to reach someone 24/7. In a follow-up to one of the suspicious deaths in Salem we reported to you yesterday, police have arrested a man they say killed his mother in Salem. The 70-year-old's body was discovered Friday at a home on Dark Forest Place in the northeast part of town. Police say the woman was found dead under suspicious circumstances. Her death has now been ruled a homicide. Her son, 43-year-old Aaron White, was arrested yesterday and now faces a second-degree murder charge. He is expected to make his first court appearance later this afternoon. Let's give you a look at our national headlines we're tracking this afternoon. Authorities in Arizona continue to search for the missing mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday night near her home. Investigators now say they believe she may have been abducted. Homicide detectives found Nancy's phone and car at the house. They say they also found concerning evidence.
We took some samples that we hope will have enough profile of a DNA profile that gives us some identification as to what we're looking at.
The search is becoming more urgent by the minute as investigators say Guthrie takes daily medication that is critical for her health. Police say they are canvassing the area and are looking for security camera footage to help with their investigation. The man accused of killing conservative influencer Charlie Kirk is expected to appear in a Utah state court today. Today's hearing is on whether the prosecutor's office should be removed from 22-year-old Tyler Robinson's case. The defense argues the prosecutor has a conflict of interest because they say their 18-year-old child was in the crowd when Kirk was shot. The county attorney's office denies a conflict of interest and says the adult child didn't see the shooting or anyone with a gun. Disney has announced Josh D'Amaro will take over for Bob Iger as CEO. D'Amaro serves as the current chair of the company's parks division. The announcement could be welcome news for investors who have watched Disney struggle in its stocks for years. The Disney's theme park division is seen as its rock and can typically be counted on to deliver profits when other divisions struggle. Disney TV head Dana Walden will become president of the company and chief creative officer.